Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Self Love Witch podcast. It is I, your host, Kimberly. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are new here, thank you so much for checking it out. So, today's topic is going to be on setting boundaries. Yes, 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 yes. All that good jazz. Setting boundaries, watching your circle, reading energy, and accepting what you see. And I'll get more into that within the podcast. But for now, I want you guys to sit back. I want you to get relaxed. If you need to take a pause, go get yourself some herbal tea. Go make yourself a little fruit bowl because this one is the one. Okay, this is the one where we are getting so down to the bone. We're getting raw, we're getting real, we're being truthful, not sugarcoating. It is what it is. And we're gonna talk about the thing that really everyone goes through, which is betrayal, which is releasing people, which is reading the energies, even if you don't want to see it, and how to stop doubting ourselves and trusting our intuition, because that is key, especially when you're an intuitive woman and you're an empath. You want to see the best in people, but sometimes you have to realize you have to trust what you feel, and you have to trust your gut, and you have to learn to identify your gut as well. So without further ado, I am going to send you guys to a quick break, a quick ad, and I'm going to get into the episode, so stay tuned. Okay, lovelies, welcome back. So as I said, we're going straight into the episode, real easy, getting real smooth into it. So I have been in a situation where I feel like 2020 and 2021 for myself was really focused on learning the true nature of the relationships within my life and kind of learning the overall theme of each one. So I noticed that a number of them were relationships where the intentions initially were genuine and they were pure. But as the time grew by and there was an evolution and there was growth involved and there was boundaries enforced, I noticed that the intentions or the nature of the relationship shifted, and not in a good way. I also noticed that I continued to pretend like I did not see what I saw. And when I say that, I mean, as me being a woman who is gifted with sight and gifted with being able to feel energies, and I also get dreams that let me know certain things, and me being shown what I was being shown about certain people and certain dynamics and not accepting it, that really caused a lot of conflict within myself. And it really does mess with your peace of mind when we can't accept what we already know. And so instead of accepting it, we pretend as if it's what we're feeling within our gut isn't real. So in a way, we're gaslighting ourselves. And not only that, we're going completely against what spirit is directing us to do. And that is really the root cause for a lot of chaos and confusion that gets created in our lives that we don't really take notice of. So as I looked over the nature of the relationships, I had to learn to trust myself. And so now I'm at the point where I don't second guess. And I get a lot of people who tell me, you have to be more forgiving, you have to be more compassionate. And what people don't understand is I have no issue with forgiving people. I have no issue with showing people compassion and love. But there's a certain boundary that I've set for myself that I feel needs to be personalized for every other person, because my boundary cannot speak or hold weight to someone else's life. It's specifically for me. I am quick to leave something or cut something off, not because I'm a runner or because I am afraid to fix things. I think the issue is that when you are genuinely invested into a relationship and you're genuinely invested in trying to maintain good energy in your life, whether that be because you had a traumatic past or because you work so hard mentally to keep a equilibrium in your life where your peace is valued, you are not going to allow anything or anyone or any relationship to interfere with that. And when it gets to that point where you feel like you're giving more than you're receiving, or when you feel like your peace of mind is constantly feeling conflicted, or you feel like your energy is constantly feeling out of whack, or you feel like you're constantly having to, I don't know, make it make sense in your own head, and you're constantly vouching for someone when you're clearly seeing the signs and you're clearly seeing that you're disheveled from just even being around them or anything like that. You have to be real with yourself. I'm not the type of person, I'm not going to give you chance after chance. That's not me. And that's my own choice, and that's how I operate. I can't speak for anyone else. But I don't give people many chances just because I know how hard I fought for my peace, and I know how much it's worth to me, and I know what I can and what I cannot handle. And there's a certain type of threshold that I have that I feel we all have to look into what kind of threshold we want to have when it comes to our peace and our goodness, our peace, our joy, our bliss, our creations. I just want to have to be more strict when it comes to those things, especially if you come from a point where a lot of it isn't really valued a lot by other people that you come across. Now, when it comes to what I was talking about earlier, when it comes to trusting what you see, there was this quote that I saw, can't remember where, but it talked about how when someone shows you who they are, stop trying to repaint the picture to make it make sense to you. It was along those lines. And I had to sit back and I was like, do I do that? And I was like, yeah, I do that. I do that a lot. I do that for a lot of people in my life. I even ask other people, hey, do you think I'm being overly dramatic? Do you think I'm being too strict? Do you think I'm being completely not trusting myself? If I'm just going to call it what it is. Completely not trusting myself. Completely dubbing my feelings and put them to the side. Gaslighting myself, okay? Just completely gaslighting myself. Because that's what it is. And I realized I asked for all those people's opinions on certain dynamics when at the end of the day, I was the person who was going to have to go back to my own life and to my own self and deal with this person or deal with these people or deal with these situations. And I did not once look into myself. I just looked for other people's answers who had no idea what it was like or how my energy felt or walked in my shoes and operated in my day-to-day. So I say all that to say, I can't express how in the midst of creating boundaries, how important it is to trust yourself and to look within yourself. No one else on this earth can let you know what you need and be 100% correct without your input, without your energy being a major component of that. And when you're constantly looking outside of yourself for people to help your boundaries make sense to you, you're not really honoring yourself. And I did that a lot, and I'm still working on resolving that about myself. Because for a long time, I just looked to other people to help my life make sense to me. And I looked to other people to help my boundaries and my triggers make sense to me. But, when you're dealing with trauma, when you're dealing with betrayal, when you're dealing with a whole bunch of things that make you feel like you can't trust your own judgment, or you can't trust, your own energy that you feel, it gets to that point. And that's why we have to be completely honest with ourselves, because for a long time, I didn't trust myself. I was like, honey, look what this choice, look at this, look, this led to this, that led to that. I don't even know if I trust my choices anymore. And it's okay to be real with yourself and be like, I don't really know if I really trust my judgment. And that's completely okay. But guess what you got to do after that? You got to work on building that trust back with yourself. Because you know what happens? What I did? When I didn't trust in myself 100%, I put majority of my trust in another person to give me the advice or give me what I needed. And it's always the wrong choice to look to other people to give you direction in your life. I genuinely feel that way. I genuinely do. Because we have direct connection with Creator, with God. And we're literally a part of God within itself. And if we get disconnected from that part of ourselves, where we feel like we can't get direct answer and direct connection, we got to work on rebuilding that. And going to other people for the direct answer it kind of continues to teach us to not trust ourselves. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm completely for getting advice. If you need to rant, if you need to vent to people, we should all be there for each other. But at the end of the day, when it comes to our life decisions, and when it comes to what we need for ourselves to function in an energy of peace and joy, we have to trust what we feel. And we have to trust our own judgment. And as I've grown older, I've realized our parents can sometimes want to get within our adult choices. Our friends may want to influence our choices. But we have to remember, at the end of the day, you have to make sure that whatever choices that you make are within your perspective and not from anyone else's perspective. So that comes with setting boundaries, right? So when it comes to setting boundaries, I feel like I said, we can't look around at other people's boundaries and be like, yes, that's what I need. You got to personalize it, right? Because that person doesn't live the life you live, right? So for instance, one of my boundaries is I expect certain people in my life to speak to me in a certain way. And when I say that, I just mean I expect when we communicate for it to be respectful. I expect for my feelings to be honored and valued. And of course, I expect for you to expect the same from me. And I don't like a certain kind of tone. And I don't like a certain type of energy. So, and I'm very vocal about that. If I feel like any of my friends or anyone I'm speaking to is kind of getting out of line with how they're speaking to me, I'm not the type of person, I'm not going to blow up automatically. I'm just going to be like, do you mind? I don't like the way you're speaking to me right now. Can you please try to communicate with me in a way that I can receive it? Because I cannot receive it in that way. And I have to be honest, it's a trigger for me. For someone who was verbally abused when she was younger, I have to have that boundary. I need to be spoken to in a way where I can receive it. And so I express that to people. And one of two ways they can respond. They can honor that boundary, or they can show me exactly why I need to enforce that boundary in the first place. And be careful, because some people will try to gaslight you and be like, you know what, you're just sensitive. Or, wow, what do you mean? Like, just deal with it like it's nothing. You're just tripping. You ever get people who are like, you can't have things the way you want. You can't control people. People will completely overlook that you're trying to keep the harmony with yourself and with them by having your boundary honored. But a lot of people don't look at it that way. A lot of people will look at your boundary as a means of control. And that's on them. That's not on you. But I do want to encourage that when we are in those situations, when people aren't trying to understand us, and not only that, they're committed to misunderstanding us, you have to trust what you see and trust what people show you and move accordingly. Because if you get people constantly showing you that they do not honor your boundaries, and you continue to deal with them, you continue to let them deal with you in any kind of way, you're teaching them how to treat you. My mother always taught me and always told me, you have to teach people how to treat you. And that's so true. You teach people how to treat you by what you accept and what you don't accept. And no one's ever too old to be taught. No one's ever in your life for too long of a period to not be taught. And one thing I also want to say, just because someone is so used to treating you one way and you finally realize, you know what, I don't like this, I need to set a boundary. And they say, well, what's the problem? I've been talking to you this way. Like, okay, well, things are different now. Or I've been doing things this way. Okay, well, things are different now. I need to be dealt with in another kind of way. And if they cannot respect that, then wash your hands. Wash your hands. Because when I tell you, it's not worth keeping people in your life who are not trying to elevate and grow with you. Because let me tell you something. The people who really honor you and love you and value you, they are going to respect your boundaries. And they're going to honor them. And they're not going to overstep them. And if they ever do, they are going to be, completely sympathetic. They are going to want to do better. And, I had people telling me all the time, they'd be like, if someone, what did they say? They said, here it goes. People treat you the way they feel about you. People treat you the way they feel about you. And, I was the kind of person, I didn't let that apply to my life. Because I was like, they love me. They just move this kind of way because that's what they're used to. But then I had to sit down and realize, like, hold on. When you go in a business setting, when you're applying for an apartment, when you're at a job interview, you learn to get into a certain type of energy, to get what you need, and to also respect and show that you are to show that you are fit for a certain position, and to show that you are right for this position that you're applying for, right? So you can get into a whole different element and a whole different energy for that. But you mean to tell me when you come around me, and when it comes with me, you can't shift and respect the boundaries that I place? How is it any different? What's crazy was what I noticed is people will try to tell people, you want me to change for you. But when they go to a position or to a job or some other place where they're supposed to act a certain way, they don't mind shifting because they know that's how they need to act in order for things to flow. But when it comes to people in your life, why do we feel like we don't need to honor and respect how people want to be treated? If me wanting to be talked to with respect, if me needing certain things as far as how I'm treated really makes you feel like you are completely shifting your entire character, then let it go. Let me go. But if it's making you evolve and change into a better person, then maybe you should try it. Because I think the issue is a lot of people don't have boundaries. So when they come across people who do have boundaries, we're called mean, we're called stuck up, we're called controlling, or we're called like bougie or uppity or whatever, just because we have boundaries and things that we just will not do with. And we put our foot down. And when we put our foot down, oh, that mother, excuse my language, that foot is down. You hear me? So set those boundaries, because you're going to come across people who are going to respect and honor them. I promise you, you will. I promise you will. And yeah, you may have some people that you probably have to tell, once, maybe even twice. But I ain't telling you 3 times. No, matter of fact, I'm going to tell you 1 time. And if you don't listen the first time, then that's that. Because honestly, it's just not sticking. And I'm not your mama or your papa. And I'm not raising you. Because when people just demand certain respects and certain ways of treatment, and that is triggering to you, or that is upsetting to you. And this goes hand in hand with one of the podcasts I posted. It was choosing peace over BS. And within that podcast, I told an entire story of, how when you're trying to honor yourself, sometimes that can look like an act of violence to other people. And it's the craziest thing ever, but it's so real, it's so true. Nevertheless, set those boundaries anyway. Set those boundaries, honor your boundaries, write them down and recite them if you need to, because there are a lot of people whose intentions with you, they won't remain the same. They won't remain as pure. And you got to be able to look into your circle and completely analyze it. Analyze it as you need to. Because, the thing I've noticed is with my friendships that I've had over the years, I looked over all of them. All of them. And I had to get really real about what the common denominator was. And the common denominator was my boundaries were not set. My boundaries were not set. Not set at all. I had friends that would talk to me any kind of way. I had friends that would use me. I had friends that would only contact me for their needs. I had friends that were possessive. I had friends that were envious. I had all types of friends that, honestly, at first, none of them started that way. At first it was all good energy, whatever. But you get to know people, and when there are certain shifts and life changes, you kind of pick up on how dynamics change. And you gotta move accordingly. But if I would have set boundaries, if I would have known how to set boundaries, because I wasn't taught to set boundaries. I was taught, teach people how to treat you, but I wasn't taught necessarily how to go about, how to enforce them. So I kind of had to learn throughout the years how to enforce them and how to honor them, because me honoring my boundaries is honoring myself. And I got called, when I finally put my foot down, I got called mean and all types of stuff, just because I would stop talking to people, I would stop dealing with people. And I would get called mean and even judgmental, just because I was like, well, you know what, that's something I can't put up with. That's something I can't have around me. And people thought I was being so judgmental. And I'm just like, I'm not being judgmental. I just really rock with myself really heavy. And, I'm not going to put myself around things or people or situations that I wouldn't want my daughter in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't really have people, like elders involved in my life that would really sit me aside and be like, hey, I think what you're doing, it's not leading you in the right path. I didn't really have people like that. in my life. I mean, I met this one lady who was honestly, she was a blessing for me. And I just randomly met her. She became a mentor for me. But I didn't really have people in my life who would sit me down and be like, hey, this path, this person, I don't know, I don't think it's in your best interest. I didn't have people doing that with me. So I had to sit down with myself and really be like, all right, I'm going to take it to the future then. I'm going to be like, okay, if I have a daughter, but I want my daughter in a situation. And that really helped me look at myself in a nurturing light. Because we can be really tough on ourselves, Like, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to make a lot of them. A ton of them. But nevertheless, I'm still deserving of love. I'm still deserving of the best. I'm still deserving of good relationships. I'm still deserving of good friendships. I'm still deserving of forgiveness. And I'm still deserving of everything, And all of us are. But if I'm not honoring my boundaries, I'm not honoring what I need in my life right now to keep my peace and to keep myself in a balanced place, then if I'm not doing it, who else is going to do it for me? And my taking on it is that I take my peace seriously. I take my peace seriously above all else. I put my peace above money. I put my peace above relationships. I put my peace above friendships. I put my peace above everything. My peace goes above any job. My peace goes above anything. And that doesn't make me selfish. I feel like it makes me very, I feel like it makes me very at peace. And, it sucks that a lot of people don't honor each other's peace. I feel like a lot of people more so honor instant gratification over each other's peace. And all I want is just peace. Peace, joy, and bliss. And an abundant energy around me. And so if I want that, with all the energies that are flowing around the world, I gotta make sure I embody that energy. I gotta make sure the energy around me embodies that energy. I gotta make sure that I'm intaking positive things. I gotta make sure I am speaking positive things. I gotta make sure I'm cutting out whatever does not serve me on a daily basis if I need to. Because when you've been to the point where you've seen how your life can get when you aren't disciplined with your self-love and your boundaries and your worth and your respect for yourself, when you're not disciplined with that, and you've literally lived through how your life can be when you don't honor yourself, oh, baby, when you come back, you are, nope, bye, cut off, gotta go, peace, right? And it's straight like that, and you'll get hate. You got a lot of hate for it. You'll get a lot of love for it too. But nevertheless, set those boundaries. Set those boundaries because they are so needed. We need more people with more boundaries out here, as is. Don't let people walk all over you. Don't let people tell you about yourself unless they're coming to you in a way that's in a reflective manner and it's out of love and compassion and they're trying to understand you. But don't let people tell you about yourself, because when I tell you that majority of people don't know themselves, that's exactly what I mean. But yes, lovelies, I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in. I hope this episode shed some light. I hope it opened some hearts. I hope it inspired you to set some boundaries for yourself. Watch the company you keep. Watch that circle like you watch your garden. Trim the weeds. Get the snakes in the grass, the whole nine. And I just want to send love and healing energy to all of y'all. And I want y'all to stay inspired. Go towards what brings you bliss. Follow your bliss above all else. I started a new thing today where I am basically using a planner now. So this was on my planner, and I'm hoping to get more organization in my life, and and just do things that make you happy, and take your time with yourself, and love yourself, and honor yourself, and hug yourself, and make love to yourself. All right, you guys. Don't forget to follow the podcast at the Self Love Witch Podcast. Also, don't forget to DM me. I love talking to you guys. Let me know what you guys think of the episodes. Let me know what you guys want me to talk about. Share your story with me. I love speaking with you guys. And on that note, I am going to go. And I hope you all have a lovely, magical day.